In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the altcoin market cap chart. In the past, there have been 3 to 4 different alt seasons. So in this video, we're going to be doing a deep dive into that data to see if we can pinpoint why these alt seasons started when they did. The remainder of this video will be brought to you advertisement free. If you would like to support my channel, please visit the affiliate link in the description of this video to Unstoppable Domains. There will be a day where our public keys are replaced by pay IDs and where you will be able to have one unique domain address to have all of your assets sent to. For example, mine is bcbacker.crypto. Please visit the link in the description of this video to Unstoppable Domains to get yours. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And today we are going to be diving into the altcoin market cap chart. Now, I do know there's a lot of stuff on my screen right now. I pretty much have a lot of the major altcoins, such as Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, you name it, EOS, Tezos, Stellar, Neo. The list goes on, and then you'll notice here, when we get deeper into this video, that I have a lot of no-name coins, stuff you maybe have never heard of, but these are things that were in the top 10 back in 2013, which is the data sets that come way back over here, such as like Nova Coin or Peercoin or Namecoin, stuff you may have never heard about right now, but I'm going to show you why that data is important here in a little while. And let me just tell you this. I'm looking at this screen. If you're looking at this with like an iPhone, you're probably screaming saying, I can't read any of this data. This is so much. I can't even read the numbers on the right side of the screen that you have going on there. And no, I get it. I get it. I think one of the reasons why my channel is successful is I can kind of find this data and then I try to explain it in very easy to understand ways. So if you just kind of stick with me throughout this video, I think you'll understand where I'm going with all of this by the time we reach the end of it. I have posted videos in the past where I say, I think this is really one of my better videos. This is kind of one of those ones where I'm pretty proud of it. Like I did a lot of work and I think I discovered something really good here. I feel that way about this video. I think this is going to be a good video. I like the data. I like the work that I've done, and I hope that you guys enjoy it too. So bear with me, stick with me, get through all of this because I think you are going to learn something in this video regarding alt seasons and when they occur with what's going on with Bitcoin. So the first thing we're going to do is zoom in on the altcoin market cap chart right here, and this thing dates back to 2013. And in the blue regions, I have highlighted when alt seasons were, and in the red is when bear markets or consolidation periods took place. Now you'll also notice there's these big lines on the screen that I have right here. We'll get to those later and I'll show you what those mean and you'll understand much better pretty soon. But first let's look at these real quick, and you can see these bull markets are pretty short, right? You can see they don't last very long. And then you have consolidation periods. Now, there's one alt season in here that's up for debate on whether or not it is actually an alt season, and that will be this one, which is why I have it outlined in red. We'll come back to that a little bit later, but first, I want to talk to you about the obvious alt seasons that we've had. And these ones would be the ones that took place back in 2013 and the one that took place right at the end of 2017 as Bitcoin was approaching its parabolic blow off top. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at this alt season and this alt season at the same time. And what I have right here is I have Bitcoin in the total market cap of Bitcoin along with the total market cap of the altcoins. And I have this chart laid on top of itself so you can see when alt season took place, when Bitcoin was doing what it was doing. And well, let's see if we can pinpoint a few things. Now, let me ask you this. If you're looking at this chart, would you say that these alt seasons right here took place at the exact same time as Bitcoin right here? So would you say alt season happened at the exact same time Bitcoin would? Well, my opinion is no, they actually didn't. While just to the naked eye, it looks like this is occurring at the exact same time this is occurring, and this is occurring at the exact same time this is occurring, you can actually see that the alt season is delayed behind Bitcoin. You can see Bitcoin is making the first moves up, Give it a little time later, then the altcoins make the same move, right? So altcoins were actually delayed behind Bitcoin. And we can see that over here as well when we put these lines down on this chart. In particular, when we put this one right here, you can see that in this situation, Bitcoin had already climbed most of its parabolic rise. And at this point right here, from this little top right here, it only had 50% remaining in its bull run, whereas the altcoins still had 500% remaining in their bull run. So the bulk of the altcoin bull run had not occurred yet by the time Bitcoin reached right here. So they don't occur exactly at the same time. Bitcoin actually has led the way in both of these bull runs, and that also occurred here. We'll take a look at this and put this line right there. And you can see that Bitcoin only had 11% remaining in its bull run at this mark right here, whereas the altcoins still had 260% remaining in their bull run. So they did not occur at exactly the same time, and Bitcoin did lead the way, and there was an actual mark of Bitcoin that triggered the parabolic run in the altcoins. So I'll zoom back out on here, and I will take this stuff off the chart. So in both of these bull runs that occurred with the altcoins, there was a significant thing that happened with Bitcoin that marked the start of alt season. And that is, of course, when Bitcoin went on its parabolic run, but there was one major profit taking spot. And that's this one right here. And then the same thing happened over here in the last bull run, where there was a major profit taking that occurred right here. So let me zoom in on Bitcoin. Let me take it off the log scale just so you can kind of see it a little bit better. And I will hide this for now, but now you can see it, right? So here is the Bitcoin bull run. And then there was this first major profit taking that occurred. So Bitcoin was going completely parabolic at the time. It only looked like a bunch of big green candles like this. And then there was a major profit taking. When that major profit taking happened for the first time while Bitcoin was in this parabolic bubble, that marked the beginning of alt season. Put it back on the log scale, head back over to the previous cycle, and we'll do the same thing right here. Bitcoin was going completely parabolic like this, had its first major profit taking, which knocked the price back all the way down here. So let's see, the price fell from 93.54. So we had almost over a 50% knockback in Bitcoin for the, let's see, a 42% knockback in Bitcoin for the first time while it was going in this big parabolic run. That big knockback after Bitcoin was going parabolic was profit taking and rotation. So we rotated out of Bitcoin and went into the altcoins, and then that led to the prolonged bear market for Bitcoin. So when that first big profit taking occurred, that triggered alt season. Same exact thing happened right here in our 2017 bull run for Bitcoin. In December, when the first major profit taking occurred in the parabolic bubble, that was the mark of the beginning of alt season. The second it took a big hard hit backwards. Now, the interesting thing about both of these is that we can kind of learn something from this. So let's put it back on this screen so we can see a little bit better. We now know that the next time that Bitcoin has a big parabolic run, we can actually figure out where the real top is going to be because there's two events that occur. One, you have a big major knockback. So first we'll be seeing Bitcoin going completely parabolic, right? We'll say, oh, wow, we're going incredibly parabolic. Where could the top possibly be? Then we see a big knockback in Bitcoin, and that will be perceived as the first major profit taking. If after that we see an alt season begin right after that, we know that the top of Bitcoin is coming in very soon. That Bitcoin will break out to new highs after that moment, but that will be it, and that'll be the end of this market cycle. So the end of a market cycle for Bitcoin and digital assets is marked by a major profit taking in Bitcoin after a parabolic run and an alt season from the rotation of money out of Bitcoin into altcoins. So the first thing we look for is the major knockback that comes while we're parabolic, and that will mark an alt season. And we can see that right here. So this is where we get into all these little charts that I have down here. We're going to head back to 2013. And this black line that I've placed right here on this chart, this signifies when that knockback occurred. So here we are, there's Bitcoin right there. This is the big major knockback that occurred at that time. Doesn't look like much on this chart, just the way I have it formatted, but that's that major 42% knockback that happened with Bitcoin back in 2013. And then you can see that is the moment that the altcoins started to explode. So you had a rotation out of Bitcoin into the altcoins, and the altcoins all exploded after this big knockback occurred. You could see we're all kind of flat, slightly grinding to the upside, but for the most part, still relatively flat. And then the second the major knockback happened, all the altcoins exploded back in 2013. Now let's move to more recent times back at the end of 2017, and we could see right here, this green line, this is when Bitcoin had its first big knockback up near $17,000, a major profit taking that occurred as Bitcoin was approaching its top, this green line. And you can see that this is the beginning of the major alt season. Now, you may not be able to tell that with this chart because I have it in log scale, but let me take it off log scale and I'll show you. So we're going to look at this green line, right where Bitcoin gets knocked back and right where this arrow is pointing, what happened after that green line. And you can see that is when the altcoins blasted off and started the alt season right after the first major profit taking of Bitcoin after a parabolic run. So now we're going to zoom back out and take a look at different alt seasons, right? So I can kind of hear people and hear the wheels turning in their head thinking, well, wait a minute, it sounds like Bitcoin is the place to be. And you don't actually get into the altcoins until Bitcoin's doing its parabolic blow off top. And then at the first profit taking, then you buy the altcoins, right? Well, logic would tell you with that scenario, yes, that's the right thing to do. You just get into Bitcoin, wait for the blow off top, and then swap on over to the altcoins. However, those are not the only alt seasons that we have seen in the cryptocurrency market. We've actually had potentially two other ones. For certain, we have one right here that took place from March through June of 2017. Then up for debate is this one that happened right here, this one from January of 2016 until March of 2016. So we're going to head back on over to that other chart really quick right here. So the alt season that I am talking about is this one taking place right here. So there we go. That is the alt season we're discussing. So let me take this off and we're going to measure it right here. This is actually a rise of 227%. At the actual time of the beginning of this move, the altcoin market cap was down nearly 70%. And this was a rise for the altcoin market cap right back up to the all-time highs. So we were very suppressed and then rised our way back to the all-time highs. Kind of feels like how we're at right now, right? So the altcoins are really, really low, and they still need to get their ways back to the all-time highs before they can break out into new all-time highs, right? So whether or not you want to call that an alt season or not, I'm deciding to. Just for the sake of it, it would still be a pretty large move. If we looked at where the altcoins are right now, and let's go ahead and measure out how big of a move would that be for the altcoins to get back to their all-time highs, be a rise of about 500%. I would consider that to be a pretty decent little alt season if we could get something like that. So that's the scenario we're looking at right here. The altcoin market cap rising back to the all-time high. When that occurred, when we had the altcoin market cap rise back to the all-time high, Bitcoin wasn't doing anything special. It was hiding out right here in this zone. Let's head back to that other chart. We'll take a look at it right here. Bitcoin was actually, after its prolonged bear market from 2014 and 2015, Bitcoin was right in here in this area when the altcoins resumed back to the all-time high. At least the market cap did. Not every altcoin did, which is why I kind of have problems with this when we look down here at the bottom. So that's this alt season right here, the box with the red border on it. We could see that not every altcoin actually did rise back to these all-time highs, and it was kind of the introductory bull run of Ethereum, which is right here. You could see Ethereum had a massive rise from about $1 to about $15, which made up a bulk of that rise. We also had New Economy movement making a big move during that time, and Verge making a big move during that time. Not all altcoins went on huge rises during that time, but Ethereum did. So would the altcoins have returned to their spots had Ethereum not swallowed so much of the altcoin market cap? Maybe so. Hard to know. But all altcoins did not benefit from that market cap return to all-time highs. It was really Ethereum swallowing most of the altcoin markets. So really pinpointing this particular alt season would be incredibly difficult, trying to figure out how it's going to get back to the all-time high right here. Who is going to be the champion of swallowing most of the altcoin market cap? It'll be interesting to see who it is. Of course, if you watch my channel, you know that I'm biased. And as for the altcoins, my opinion would be that it would be XRP taking it. So our first scenario covered the 2013 alt season and the end of 2017 alt season. And now we've discussed when the altcoin market cap returned back to its all-time high, and then not every altcoin benefited from that, but mostly it was Ethereum coming in and swallowing most of the altcoin market cap to return it back to the all-time high. But then this was a major alt season that occurred in the cryptocurrency market, and it was not marked by some type of parabolic run up in Bitcoin or a return back to the all-time highs. This was a full-blown breakout alt season that occurred mid-cycle of Bitcoin, in which the entire altcoin market cap rose nearly 3.5 to 4,000%. So we'll head back on over to this chart. Right here I have the Bitcoin total market cap, and right here I have the altcoin total market cap, and we're going to be looking at the alt season that occurred right here. And you can see this was the first time that the total altcoin market cap caught up to the Bitcoin market cap and actually exceeded it. The whole altcoin market as a whole was more valuable than Bitcoin at that time. But that's not really so much important. What we're concerned about is what marked the beginning of this alt season right here. And the only thing we can really see is that Bitcoin was breaking out into new all-time highs right here. This was the first time that Bitcoin knocked back against the all-time high. This was Bitcoin crossing over the all-time high and then falling below the all-time high. And then finally, it started to break out, and that is when the alt season began. When Bitcoin proved that it was going to go beyond the all-time high and continue even higher is when the altcoins went on an absolute rampage. And we could see that back over here on this chart, zooming in on these. This line marks the breakout of the all-time high and touching. So this was our touch of the all-time high right here on Bitcoin. This was us exceeding all-time high, and that marked the beginning of this alt season. So you could see every single coin, did not matter what you were, you got to go on a bull run during that time. So we saw the confidence in cryptocurrencies return and that Bitcoin could become valuable because Bitcoin was at $1,200, $1,300 at that time, breaking new highs after a several year prolonged bear market. It became, oh my goodness, digital assets are really going to be a thing. Let me see if I can buy the next Bitcoin. So here you go. We have a huge, monstrous alt season that kicks off in the beginning of 2017 where everybody gets to take advantage of it. So that's our third scenario where Bitcoin breaks out into a new all-time high and cryptocurrencies all go on a run. Now, there's a very specific reason why I decided to start looking into this and start figuring out when do, altcoins take off, what's happening with Bitcoin at the time when it does have when we do have some type of an alt season. And it's because I was here during the 2017 bull run. I do remember what it was like when that alt season took place back in April through June, and then how shocking it was that the altcoins did not continue to do anything after that, and Bitcoin just went on a parabolic tear after June, and the altcoins literally did nothing the entire time until the end of the year when Bitcoin was finally in its parabolic blow off top and the first profit taking occurred. So I want to go into the next alt season and into the next Bitcoin bull run having a game plan on, what am I going to do with a lot of these altcoins that I've accumulated during this bear market, and when do I plan on exiting them? Do I plan on getting any Bitcoin at any points of time, or should I swap those altcoins into other altcoins? What should I do? So I've formulated 3 things that I'm going to do during the next season or the next market cycle based on what scenario happens. I don't know which scenario is going to play out. It could be any of the 3 scenarios that we've outlined. So let me show you the exact things that are going through my mind right now. Scenario 1 is that Bitcoin breaks out into new all-time highs and absolutely nothing happens with the cryptocurrency market in regards to altcoins. So let me just read this to you. Scenario 1. Bitcoin breaks out into new all-time highs, altcoins do nothing. They stay flat. The crypto market will start to FOMO into Bitcoin, thinking that the altcoins are dead. I will continue to hold, waiting for a parabolic blow off top, which is profit taking, and then ride the final wave, selling into USD, not Bitcoin. So in this scenario, if we're having a blow off top in Bitcoin, there will be a large profit taking, and then we'll have an alt season, and then that will lead into another bear market for Bitcoin and for the rest of the market. So in that scenario, I would not be selling into Bitcoin. I would be selling everything into US dollars at the end of that alt season and walking away from the crypto market for a while until the next bear market cools down. Scenario two is going to be where the altcoin market cap returns back to the all-time highs, yet not everything has a bull run at the time. In that scenario, only a few altcoins have bull runs as the altcoin market cap returns back to the all-time highs. So long as Bitcoin is still in the $8,000 to $15,000 range, I will sell those altcoins into Bitcoin until Bitcoin goes parabolic. And then I'll swap those Bitcoins back to altcoins once Bitcoin hits $50,000. The reason why I believe $50,000 is the place to do that at is because I've shown this several times on this channel over the last few months, and that is that Bitcoin has found a resistance and support at the exact same levels that we have found in the past, whereas bouncing off the exact same levels. And I do anticipate that based on Fibonacci extensions and based off of our previous market cycles, that we will actually have a reach out to about $80,000 for Bitcoin, which means that we would have that major knockback occur right here at about $50,000. Let me put a little dot right there, and you can see right there, 51,347, somewhere in that range. That's where the first major profit taking would take place. So based on scenario one, that's where I would swap that Bitcoin back into the altcoins. Scenario three would be the biggest alt season that we've seen, and that would be once Bitcoin breaks towards its all-time high of $20,000. So Bitcoin would break up towards the all-time high. During that time of Bitcoin being at $11,000, $12,000, $14,000, $16,000, $18,000, $19,000, the altcoins do nothing, and we're just watching Bitcoin go crazy. Once Bitcoin hits the all-time high, alt season begins. In that scenario, I would just hold on for dear life, ride it out for a while, start counting waves, and then pick out where I'm going to be getting out. So really the main thing is seeing if we're going on a parabolic all-time high run on Bitcoin. In that scenario, you need to pick out where the first major profit taking is and then escape the alt season that occurs after that. The next one is going to be once the altcoin market cap returns back to its all-time high. It may only be a certain select few altcoins that do actually end up partaking in that bull run, in which you would swap those into Bitcoin when the time comes. And then the last one is if we have sort of a mid-cycle alt season when Bitcoin breaks into the new all-time highs. So this is one that may trick a lot of people. A lot of people have been waiting for this moment and know about this, that Bitcoin breaks into new all-time highs and that leads to an alt season. But what would happen if an alt season didn't start when that occurred? I think you would see a lot of FOMOing out of the altcoins into Bitcoin, and people would be tricked to believe that there would never be an alt season ever again. However, it would come when that major profit taking would take place with Bitcoin at $50,000, in which an alt season would begin. You'd ride that up, then it would be time to step away from digital assets for quite a while. The great thing about figuring out all of this information as well is if we do see an alt season occur where Bitcoin is not going into a parabolic blow off top, we know that that's not the last alt season that we'll see, that we'll still have a second one. So a lot of times, for example, when it comes to XRP, we talk about different price targets. In particular, I always talk about 13, 26, and 55. If Bitcoin were to break out into new all-time highs and the alt season began once Bitcoin hit $50,000, I would expect that the high of XRP would only reach that first target of $13. However, if we had a mid-cycle alt season and XRP went to $13 during that mid-cycle, mid-Bitcoin cycle, I would still expect that there would be one more alt season that would occur when Bitcoin would finally go into its blow-off top and when it would hit 50. So let's say if we have an alt season that happens when Bitcoin breaks to its new all-time high. So the second Bitcoin hits $20,000, we suddenly have an alt season and XRP breaks up to $13 at that time. So Bitcoin is sitting at like $24,000, XRP is sitting at $13,000. I would not expect that to be the top of XRP. I could see some prolonged consolidation occurring at that time, but I would still expect one more alt season bull run to occur when Bitcoin finally went into its last leg of its parabolic run. So this information is going to be able to tell us which one is the one that we really need to be selling into, right? Which alt season do we really need to be escaping and walking away from? So in the coming, months or years or however long all of this takes to play out, I now have this data set in my mind. I've got it programmed into me to know, is this the one that I really need to be getting out and walking away from, or are we seeing a mid-cycle alt season? So, okay, guys, as for the data, that's going to be it. But this was probably one of those top 5 videos that I've ever put out because I know how valuable that data is that we just saw. We kind of got to really experience when the alt seasons happen and when we need to step away from the crypto market for good. So we can pick out all these different price targets that we want, but we also have an idea of what the market cycles will look like at that time to know, yep, this is the right one. This is the one to get out on. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this one. You can follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. Again, if you would like to support the channel, please visit the affiliate link in the description of this video to Unstoppable Domains to secure your own unique domain address. The future of pay IDs is coming where we will no longer use our public keys to send and receive digital assets. Secure your domain today so you will be able to tie all of your pay IDs to one simple address. I want to thank you all so much for watching my channel. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please give it a like. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an investment advisor, but if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.